Testing. Testing. dilemma. It's the main cause of this whole thing.
Ano? Apa namanya nih? Stone.
Is by the client.
Namanya
Ini yang siapa bikin this is the melt the other bank this kind of concept.
Asalnya drama buat apa? Lo kira lo
That's why we practice. We don't do
kelebihannya.
Banyak kan don't balance. Itu semua progress bisa lebih. Kita tidak, dulu kita you have to be advanced. Why do you put this? Yes, I like that. But this is long mindset first. People use that. This is where the money comes from. Is safety. We don't look into our money economy. Oh, what is it? Dari kemarin 2012 waktu kita back to Okto for the project forensic.
Apa dah?
This don't take him. Tapi always have you can yeah, they take it different. Communication get effective.
Ada rasa minum. Ada. Participation. Ya. Fiber tadi fiber
Parang kami sekarang parang dengar.
Oh, orang
Konstan.
di komen lagi. Dia ada
Let's look at
mana? Sama. Oh,
tambah saya. Oh. Semua orang kami
dia bilang
buat behavior. Dia behavior boleh jadi kunci jadi sesuatu. Orang baca is based on giving out
benar. Saya tidak bisa.
Berapa? Bukan dia komik, kalau membuat dia sudah ada.
Nah, kalau
orang sini membuat kerja tetapi kita dulu tuh masa di kami tahu tuh jadi risk analysis nah why risk analysis Ada sebelum bisnis terlalu. Saya belum mana bukan yang barang kalau aku kena bukan begitu. We need to work. Even simple item and yet big Kalau udah expert, saya ini bagus. Nulis macam apa? Berapa ini? Lagi. So I give him the kalau aku bilang I never see. Aku tu, ada dulu. Ano, I will. Apa yang kita buat tadi? Yang pun siapa? Itu kita kan. And from out of the bike, I will come back. The next day, I come back.
Tiga lagi. Bisa kayo ka? Yung mo taniya to, umot.
Pero, I think kamar tayo bike ko yung zamani ko. Ano ba? Sabihin ko siya lang. I think pinjat lang. In my first time, I believe that.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum. Morning. I want to welcome all of you for attending today's SHENA mini lecture event. Themes for today's presentation is resilient safety culture in creating economic opportunity. Bless the event this morning. We would like to invite Yang Mulia Haji Muhammad Hafizul for the recitation of Surah Al-Fatihah.
Oh. Asal kumpet aja lah. Soalnya macam budget atau Indra.
Iya.
Kalau dalam office boleh lah.
Kalau kalian di angkanya yang bayar waktu yang ada di toko. Before the presentation begins, allow me to remind you that there is no plan for the drill today. If you hear any alarm, please remain calm and kindly exit to the right side of the lecture conference. Now, our SHENA and ICC officer will guide you towards the closest exit door and the assembly point. We also have SHENA's first aider, used by to provide support if required. So, few housekeeping before we begin today's program. First, I would like to seek for your cooperation. Firstly, to kindly switch off your mobile phone in silent mode to minimize the interruption. Due to the time limitation, all questions will only be entertained at the very end of the Q&A session. Please also be ensured to always maintain low professionalism and use respectful language during the lecture. And last but not least, you will be able to gain some wonderful prizes by participating in our quizzes. Highly recommend you listen and focus on the presentation to grab the wonderful. All right, thank you for your kind of patience and attention. So without further ado, we would like to invite our first speaker, Yang Mulia, Inspector 2 from Compliance and International Division, and she will be presenting on instilling safety and health culture in the workplace.
Isip patang ba? Darapat to sa patang. Isa sa patang nito ang dadar sa muso. Ila, ila.
I just want to check, can you guys hear me very clearly? I was standing behind her and I couldn't hear anything, so I might just be going to long wing to for this morning. Okay, so as introduced by Arifin, my name is Shazwana. I'm an Inspector 2 under Compliance and International Division. And today I will be speaking on, let me just get to first slide. Okay. Instilling safety and health culture in the workplace. I'll give the lady some time to settle down. Are you okay? Okay, so before we start, we actually need to know what do we mean by safety and health culture? Like, what does it mean? In a nutshell, the collective values of an organization, like the groups of individuals within the organization that affects the pattern of behavior that indicates commitment of the organization towards health and safety management. So when we think about the contributing factors to safety and health culture, it's very simple. Just remember A, B, C. That is A, attitudes, B, behaviors, and C, competencies. So after this, we'll have a short video clip where we can practice the ABCs in trying to determine the safety and health culture of a worksite. And it's important to note that there is a correlation between safety and health culture with the performance of safety and health within an organization. So if it's good safety and health culture, obviously good safety and health performance. If it's bad, then it's going to be a bad performance, meaning a lot of injuries, fatalities maybe on site, a lot of like contraventions, people not listening to management, and etc. Okay, I love Pink Panther, so I picked a very short clip of one of my favorite episodes. But again, to keep aligned with the objective of the presentation and my topic, let's focus on determining the safety and health culture of the worksite in this Pink Panther video. So remember A, B, C. Attitude, behavior, competencies of the people featured in this clip, yeah? And I'll narrate as we go along. So it's not okay, Pink Panther, random panther walking down the street to workers. So we assume Pink Panther is not competent for the job. I mean, we don't know if he is, but just for the sake of this video, let's assume he's just a random panther with no construction experience. Okay, picks up, puts on the helmet, A for PPE, I guess. We see Pink Panther has walked into his site. He doesn't do anything. When Pink Panther picks up the plank, doesn't care who it is, what's gonna happen. And because of that, the foreman gets injured. Something's going on here that there's an implication. Now the foreman is beating up the worker, and the worker doesn't know why. So from that line of event, you can kind of gauge the attitude and behavior of the foreman and the intervention yang menangkap orang sepertinya. Of Pink Panther as well, seperti masuk ambil plank, doesn't care siapa memakai, what's going to happen. And even to a point, the worker itself. At first I thought maybe the worker is innocent, but as highlighted by somebody, the worker in the German check masih akan menuang si mana tu, was it safe, ada apa kesehatan. So there's a form of complacency, which I don't blame him. When you put the plank there, you expect the plank to still be there like 2 seconds later. But this is just reminders that should always be aware of your surroundings. Hopefully that helps with understanding the ABCs that contribute to safety and health culture at a worksite. Now there are certain things that can influence culture. The first one, and arguably the most important one, is management commitment. I don't know how many people in the crowd are management level, but this is very important for you to hear. Even if you're not management level, it's a good way to remind your management as well about this. Management commitment is super, super important. It's kind of finding out what drives your management. Does your management care more about profitability? Do they care more about meeting deliverables within a certain time by hook or by crook? I want this to be done in 3 months. No matter how unreasonable it is, I don't care if you have to work 25 hours, get it done. So how management, their perception towards safety and health management actually affects the workers a lot as well. Because if they see management doesn't care about health and safety, why should I care about health and safety? Also, if they see management doesn't care about the health and safety of workers, then they will assume management doesn't care about our welfare. They want us to work around the clock, get things done. Doesn't matter how I physically, mentally, they just see me as pure labor, not as a person, which is bad. So if you're in a management position, and hopefully most of you will be there one day, we need to remember that we need to lead by example. Next one is competent workers. So when we say competent here, it's not just training. People can give you training, that's fine. But also to carry out the job well, you would need proper instruction, You would need proper supervision and information. If someone gives you a very vague way to do this, you know how to do it, how best to do it, what machines to use. Even though you're trained, you might still not be able to do the job safely. And you need to consider personal factors as well. So a good example here is age. So if someone is a fresh graduate, very young, so they might be very inexperienced, belum ada banyak maybe leadership punya skills, which is fine, that's expected. So kalau cuma itu, then they need to be given more supervision, or they need mentoring or something. We need to kind of align it to suit the conditions lah. And vice versa, if the person is more guru more, then maybe orang can be a bit complacent. Biasa sudah doing things a certain way. It's like no one's under my watch, so why should I change the way? So that's the struggle of sometimes management and people in the HSCP. And also do not underestimate the power of peer pressure. So like one bad apple can ruin the whole bunch, but also vice versa. If you have someone in your team that's very passionate about HSE, that can actually rub off on other people that's working with them. So it's a good influence on them. So it's something to consider at your website. And, sorry, a little bit out of breath. And lastly, effective communication. This is very important, especially with COVID-19. Like MOH would do press conferences every day then, but it's up to your organization or the company how we can cascade this information. How do I summarize that 1 hour session to something critical that our workers need to know? We need to be very strategic with what method you use. Okay, WhatsApp that, okay, post that, okay, email that. You would know what's the most effective way to reach your workers. And lastly, that's important, is consultation with your workers. You need to realize that communication is a two-way street. It's not just management or the HSE team telling what to do to the workers. There has to be a mechanism in place where workers feel comfortable to raise issues to you. Plus, they feel like there can be improvements on health and safety management. Then they need to be comfortable to do that. That of the repercussions of if you raise something which is open, we want everyone to be involved in the process. So this ties back into the theme of MYCE, which is inclusive, resilient, and sustainable economic growth. All these three things can lead to that. We have some indicators of culture as well, trying to be mindful of the time. We have good indicators. This again, management. You're going to keep seeing this every time people talk about safety and health because it's that important. Good employee retention, again, if employees are happy, if we feel like the management cares about us and we're not going to die on the job, then people are more likely to stay. And adequate resources for HSE as well. This is not just from a financial standpoint, which are procurement of PPE or technology that's safer, but also manpower. So look at your organization. How many HSE people are in there? Is it one person or an organization of 200? Or is there an actual team that can carry out their task of managing HSE? And some bad examples of that can show the bad safety and health culture on your site. High level of absenteeism. Every day, banyak pindah orang MC dia migraine hari-hari, but you know they're fine. Everything MC but actually out jalan-jalan. So that can be an indication of bad safety and health culture because people don't want to go to work, people don't want to be there. So you need to find out why. And lack of compliance to law and policy. This is the simplest way to find out your organization's safety and health culture and their attitude to HSE. Are they willing to meet the bare minimum, which is the legal obligations put upon each company? So my colleague Amira will be explaining further on the compliance part. And lastly, high accident rates. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of fatalities, injuries on site, and usually it's a bad safety and health culture. That's why there's bad health and safety performance. Okay, this is my last slide. So when we think about improving safety and health culture in Brunei Darussalam, we need to remember that it cannot be done just by one organization. It cannot just be SHENA. HSE is not there. SHENA may pasal they go for now why is it our version of it? You have to understand we are changing a mindset. It's not, it's not just one company. It's the whole country, all workplaces in the country, all domestic workers working at homes. So in order to change the mindset of the whole nation, it needs everyone's commitment. So of course, SHENA will do what's in our power, but even for companies, for individual levels, there are things that you can do to influence this change as well. And we all need to work together to achieve our 2035, which is goal number 2, world-class health and safety. So what can we actually do? For implementers, like workers, such as myself or you guys, just use and follow instruction. So don't be that annoying worker that thinks they know better, that feels like, oh, I can do the job better if I do it this way. Focus on what's being instructed to you. If it's logical, if it's safe for you, then follow it. Secondly is intervene. This is for all levels. Doesn't matter you're a CEO of the company or if you're a labor worker. Everyone should feel comfortable enough to say, hey, you're doing something. When you say nicely, like, excuse me, can you stop poking the electric socket with a metal object? I'm scared you're going to get electrocuted. But everyone should have this comfortable sense that you are working together. You want to make sure everyone's safe, everyone gets home safely to their families, you get home in one day. So intervention culture is very, very important. I know Bruneians are we're very nice. We don't want to hurt people's feelings. We don't want our cars to be scratched. But think of it in a good way that you're protecting people. And lastly, influencers. You don't have to be a social influencer. You don't have to be Rano Adidas. Everyone kind of has their own bubble of influence. You can influence your family, your friends, your close colleagues. And just keep this in mind, like, if you want to change the mindset of safety and health culture, it's not just at the workplace, it has to go beyond work as well. For example, like safe driving. I have to tell my parents when they don't want to put their seatbelt. So that's me influencing my family to act in a safe way on a daily basis. And I think that's it for me. Thank you so much. I'll bring in Nabila for the next one.
Thank you very much, Shirvana, for the insightful presentation and indeed organization with a positive safety and health culture. With positive safety and behavior, which can benefit our current and inshallah future generation. Next, let me invite the next speaker, Yang Mulia Nabila, Inspector 2 from Compliance and International Division as well, to deliver a presentation on the importance of workplace safety and health compliance.
2035. So zooming into goal number 2, this is where the world class or those risks to as low as reasonably practical. So those are the why compliance in the nation and SHENA's perspective. So what? So when we look at a legal perspective in the WHO 2009, there are some consequential impacts. So again, it's the hefty fines. I don't think organizations want to pay these fines or even like medical fees caused by accidents at workplace, because these can be easily avoided when organizations invest in health and safety at the workplace. Right? Some regulations entire industries in Brunei. Developing legislation, we also develop guidance notes. So these guidance notes are basically like simplified documents that are based on the regulations, and these can be found in the SHENA website and available to be downloaded for free. For the purpose of my mini lecture, probably one of the most talked about regulation, and it's also one of the crucial elements at every workplace. So when we talk about risk assessment, we should be able to identify the after identifying the hazards, then control measures based on the hierarchy of controls. But it's not only the competent person's job to do a risk assessment. This risk assessment should also involve consultation, and communication with workers who are doing that job because they are the ones that are exposed to those hazards. Practices more. The next one is on WSH committee or workplace safety and health committee. So when we talk about workplace, this is the safety officer's job. I don't think about officer, but should the workplace not have an officer, it's expected for them to identify a coordinator or a representative to be the secretary. And for your information, in the next mini lecture, my colleague will be explaining more. And again, patient, the attitude, behavior, and competency are also important. It's a safe place to work and work together.
Again, a very interesting presentation. And yes, legislation is there to protect you from the risk and hazard at the workplace. And also, with the support from all stakeholders, inshallah, we will be able to make Brunei a safe place to work and live. Now, let me invite you, Yang Mulia Saharudin, the Instructor 1. We present on workplace and health officer and coordinate.
Investigate. Because investigate. Then investigate.
Thank you. Let me see. Okay. So this on the second of this session, we offer workplace safety health officer, coordinator, and one. So I believe most of the audience here, I think we already what the solution of it. Where workplace or in one is section 32 and 33, it's mentioned that no person shall act as the workplace officer or coordinator except with approval of the committee. So di sini to know sebagai tahu, tetap dalam tersebut dipastikan untuk appoint business coordinator and also those yang acting as a business coordinator it will get approval from the authority. So terasa dengan ada kami slide. Okay. So first, let's talk about the workplace safety health officer. So there are certain workplaces yang record the appointment of the officer. For example, was involved in the Shengya, factories that process petroleum product is even oil and gas industry. And then factories yang having a building operation of the whole work of engineering construction. This is including any construction activities, construction sites, which have the contract value of 10 million or more. So kalau less, ada kirim requirement. So kalau 10 million or more, normally maintenance officer and can big project because of project. As well as any other factories. So later we'll describe apa example of factories yang kalau terdapat 100 orang ataupun more, they require to have workplace safety officer. Okay. Of course, I think everyone know di Kuala Salam, the minimum requirement is to have the Nibos NGC. So itu bulan ini dan di NT Anwar dan di diploma ataupun doctor safety, it's more than Nibos NGC. I did say it's a minimum qualification. So I think some people salah faham kalau ada dapat degree in safety. I think and the idea about actually that is much more higher. I think that's a minimum requirement in the Sarawak. Okay, and also 2 years of relevant experience. About that 2 years relevant experience di sini, kerjanya tu involved dengan HSE rules. So dia membuat experience, membuat inspection. Bukannya industrial juga, industrial experience macam dia bekerja, SE punya skills apa tapi HSE experience kalau yang kami build. Okay. And I think I believe everyone knows at the moment kita akan registration list of the best officer ini. If you have two years, there is a new registration list which ada yang qualification renewal 60 masa replacement. So you can scan the card for more information. Tapi at the moment kami mau apply physical masih the best officer at the right now. Tapi soon we will be involved into online registration. We will inform them as soon as we embark to the online registration. These are the documents that are required. going to be apa ni for us to access the application lah. Yang penting di sini juga there need to be ada appointment of appointment daripada employer. Kalau di sini kami mau kita punya employer tu ada pak have the responsibility yang memang appoint that individual as that's why it's very important for to have the requirement and of course requirement that tu dia yang ada terus kami maksud kadang-kadang bisa ni so that's the reason why we did that requirement. Okay. So as being mentioned earlier, kan logistik, talking about the factories yang satu concern. So for example, factories itu, sini, okay. So ini kalau kita punya workplace yang ada involve all this handling, packing, storing, processing, manufacturing goods and product. Apa sahaja goods and product? Ada makanan, any service and product. And then kalau apa di sekitar itu, ada juga handle any sort of hazardous substance. All the different institution involving hazardous substance, packaging, storing, processing, and packaging use the hazardous substance. Kalau the workplace yang 100% mau, it's required to have a business. And building operation, engineering construction yang di operational. So everyone understand now? Untuk kita dapat safety officer. So these are the category kalau yang dapat status formal this. Okay, the next one is about the building operation of full engineering construction. Contract value-nya less than 10 million. So meaning any construction site yang macam kalau buat rumah atau very bulan simple construction project. So orang dipastikan dua untuk appoint the business coordinator. So the business coordinator flexible sikit bukan coordinator. Individual boleh mengapply sendiri on behalf of the company. Currently there is no registration fees. And the minimum qualification currently is IOS managing safety, which we can take from the preparing provider yang as well as labor awards in health safety and work. So of course nanti usually 3 ke 4 hari lah. So depending on yang pernah terpaksa. And the document required you need to fill the register form in our website. Your MYCE atau passport atau international. Tadi banyak sekali application yang kalau coordinator flexible sikit. So you want to get coordinator as possible lah. So ada the regulation. Of course, yang ada dua ada client sitting and every reduce okay, this is about the safety management system. So I believe everyone understand kalilah ada terdapat using shop management system. Tapi di Brunei Darussalam ni kita ni memakai the second schedule under the Predictive dalam Consultation Regulation 2014. Berikan the management system. So management system ni yang punya ni dua take apa di the safety officer atau coordinator understand apa yang dia roles. So it give you the guidance lah apa kerja-kerja ataupun task yang kita perlu buat. Okay, so we have the safety policy, you need to perform the safe practice, and then you need to be involved juga membagi health safety training, and also to ada juga assign your staff. So for example ada yang kan then upaya martial first aider. So as a safety officer coordinator, you are the one who responsible to assign incident investigation analysis. The next thing about what we call safety rules. That is very important because as an officer coordinator, you are the one who mengkasih information itu di workplace management. Control contractors, for example, kalau ada kontraktor yang berada dalam kita ada yang tuan yang macam mana lah control yang mungkin ada induction kau, boleh sudah datang, so dia boleh bekerja dengan selamat. Kalau kontraktor bekerja kita PAVILION, you are the one who actually responsible lah untuk your safety. Kita is a principal of the and then safety inspection or maintenance can be kalau we work with equipment maintenance machine and sebagainya. And then the last one I think is very important because that's the most fundamental part of the management system is management. And then macam mana kita mengkontrol kita punya orang-orang berbahaya atau the substance. Functional health program as well as so usually require mobile bomba lah kalau dia berbahaya, tapi kalau dalam emergency itu can liaise with so these are the fourteen elements yang the element yang kita perlu in your okay. So I think we are starting to cascade the new requirements or ritual of the workplace and coordinator. So ada tiga aspek di sini: continuing education, delivering education, and also inspection audit. I think some of you ada inspection audit when you visit the okay. So what we require di sini, kalau untuk renewal of certificate coordinator, we require at least 15 jam untuk dia attend training consultation forum yang related to HSC. So meaning you can handle the management. Okay, this is the requirement untuk PAVILIon renewal. So you can convince that we need to be active in attending talks, seminar. Apa macam kita attend hari ini? Jadi jadi kalau kita attend sejam, kita masukkan kita gambar sejam. Nanti masuk dalam kita punya biasa atau koordinasi. The next one, delivering teaching kita. Tapi ini mungkin sangat kali, because kita mau tadi urgently about teaching, and last one on this, inspection audit and review, kita mesti achieve minimum 15 jam bawah, membuat audit inspection, investigation, and also organizing calendar dan sebagainya. So that's part of the criteria yang we need to see yang kita punya renewal of the commission also coordinator of the review application dengan SHENA nanti ya. Okay, so just to introduce you ini the new online system, registration portal for the workers yang bisa including radiation, focus sama radiation license you yang ada dalam radiation dan sebagainya. So kita boleh later my colleague will talk more on radiation parameters, which will be also dalam radiation portal. So with that, thank you very much. After that, I will pass the word next.
Thank you very much, Zahara. For further information related to the registration of the research officer and also coordinator, probably from the showcase outside, when we assist to guide you further. Next, this will come here, the Honorable Nazira. Again, Haji Abdul Rahman, to present on the regulatory validation.
Oh,
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Nazira, the second last speaker for today's session so far, and we will now move on to radiation. Before I move on to what are radiation activities in Brunei, let us watch a video on what is radiation.
Radiation
karena to mantap keputusannya. Itu nada.
Understanding of the radiation describes two very different scientific phenomena: electromagnetic radiation and nuclear radiation. Electromagnetic radiation is pure electricity consisting of interacting electrical and magnetic waves.
Please pay attention here, so there will be questions from quizzes from this part.
Combinations of protein transcriptase isotopes remain unstable. When they have something trace events of radioactive potassium isotope, and so we find that in a world of radiation, we escape its dangerous effects. Discovered that all radiation is hazardous. Radiation is received when it rips atoms of electrons away upon impact, a process that can damage DNA. This is known as ionizing radiation. Nuclear radiation is ionizing, but only the highest energy of electromagnetic radiation. So there's a risk of radiation exists in a short term. Also, evident especially exposures of natural ability to damage. Especially exposures are exposed daily to risks. Stages, they are ionizing radiation exposure of the serum, and acute exposure to the serum will probably cause Alzheimer's to get science to rapid rate of dosage and recommended and acute concern of advanced radiation.
The video. So as we saw in the video, there are two kinds of radiation, ionizing radiation and non-ionizing radiation. And SHENA regulates ionizing radiation, which is the harmful part at the lower end of the spectrum, so X-rays and gamma rays. SHENA regulates ionizing radiation. Hold on. So then at the last end, so you have radio waves, microwaves, visible light. Those are not under SHENA's purview; it will be under another statutory body. So we also saw the effects of ionizing radiation, which are cancer, cellular dysfunction, and potentially even death. So our goal is to protect people, society, and environment from those harmful radiation risks. And also, secondly, our goal is to ensure peaceful use of nuclear science and technology, the existing nuclear technology I'll be presenting, and also future opportunities, nuclear science and technology that our colleague Carlo will be presenting after this session. Lastly, our goal is to prevent radiation gamma rays. Try and test that, because high levels of gamma rays in healthy seed will actually lead to death because it's really high. Okay. Next, 33. So it was previously called Radiation Protection Order 2018, but some amendments were made to this order and it was upgraded to an act. So these activities are required to be licensed. So companies who deal with these activities are required to be more on what are material and controversial later on. So we license the activities based on Section 6 and Section 7 of the Radiation Protection Act. So here, same activities via land, or whoever transport, they need to license the SHENA. And then that is for electric material. This is for filter apparatus. So for example, anyone has X-rays, whether in working condition or not, they need to be licensed for SHENA. Okay. Under Section 2, Section 10. So before that, anyone who contravenes subsection 1, of Section 6 or 7 is guilty of an offense and liable on conviction. In case of an individual, so a person, a fine not exceeding $100,000, imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years or both. In case of a body culprit, so fine not exceeding $10 million. So as our colleague Nabila has said, we want to be economically beneficial, but this is a very big amount of money and you do not want to use that much if you are a company that deals with radiation. So now we move on to Section 10, which is the licensee's duties. Licensee is someone who is responsible for that license. So whoever is licensed with SHENA, the person that is responsible is called our licensee. So it is the duties of licensees to the employees. Employees in this case is the radiation workers. Same with the PSHO officer or coordinator, they're required to be registered with SHENA as well. So the licensees are required to, under the Act, to protect these radiation workers from exposure. So as you can see from the video that you are exposed to radiation all around, but these workers are more exposed to the radiation that they're working with. So they're working with ionizing radiation. So they need to protect them. To ensure that they perform work safely and also without risk to their health. They need to also report to SHENA for overexposure. So there's a limit to how much they can receive within a year. And if it is overdose, so they need to report to SHENA and investigate why they're receiving this much. Because if you receive a high level, as you can see in the video, if you receive higher than what you're supposed to receive, it can damage your cells. And in Brunei, there isn't a facility that can treat these radiation damage. What they can do really is just cut off whatever part that is affected by radiation. Number D, monitoring equipment or devices. I'll be explaining more later. So licensees are to provide the radiation workers with these equipments. And E, to medical examinations. So workers are required to undergo medical examinations to ensure that they are. Okay, so these are examples of predictive materials. I'll explain just one. So one is, as you can see, that long rod. This is called radium-192. But radium-192 is not this whole thing. It's really in here, a small metal disc that is 3.5 millimeters small, but it can cause, it gives out really high radiation. And our licensees do report a lot of these that is used in non-destructive testing. So it's basically a non-invasive technique to inspect without having to damage the part. Okay? So it's actually, because it has a high activity, it is usually used in conjunction with this item that looks like a yellow handbag, as our licensees have called it before. It's actually a very heavy item. It's around 23.6 kilograms, and it has depleted uranium inside that acts as a shielding for the gamma projector. This is called a gamma projector, so this goes inside. And we actually have a dummy projector outside. It's not the real one, but it's also on our booth if you want to have a look. Okay, so for control apparatus in our act, it means that that produces ionizing radiation, whether because when energized or because it contains radioactive materials. So for example, just now I mentioned that we have iridium-192 in oil and gas, but in medicine, they also use iridium-192 for brachytherapy to treat cancer. So basically the person lying down, that's brachytherapy, treat cancer. And our highest number of control apparatus in Brunei is X-rays. Now that we can travel, you'll see more of the X-rays at the airport. Okay. Okay, so these are the civilians monitoring equipment, as I mentioned in section 10. Licensees are to provide these monitoring equipment to the radiation workers. The top rows are our survey meters. It is to detect the radiation levels surrounding area and also for the radiation sources. And the bottom one, these are actually really only half of this size, and they wear it. They're worn by the radiation workers. So they wear it to see to. They are sent to laboratories outside. At the moment, we don't have labs here, so they're sent overseas, and they receive back the data, those records, to see how much the workers receive per month. So we want to see how much the radiation workers, after working with the ionizing radiation within that month, we want to know how much they actually receive this. So whether they are overdosed, overexposed. If they're overexposed, why are they overexposed? Meaning that they're not working properly or there isn't enough shielding. We want to investigate. And also these equipments are also outside. So come and have our booth. They're also there if you want to see in person. And as Zahar has mentioned, we're going to launch our SHENA for the registration of our radiation license and registration of our workers. And these applications as well, because at the moment it is via email. So now I will be echoing what Nabila, our colleague, has said, to infinity and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Nazira, for the presentation. Indeed, radioactive materials It is the responsibility of everyone to ensure that we can eliminate or minimize the risk and control as reasonably low as possible. Last but not least, our final presenter, Yang Mulia Federal Transfer Ben Ramli, Instructor 1, will deliver his presentation on the opportunities in radiation technology.
Everybody still okay? Still with me? Okay. My name is Muhammad Khairul Aswar. I'm from the GIU Technical and International Unit, provided the International Division of SHENA. It is a pleasure today to be with you in MYCE. And it's all my English patient that's in the next 10 minutes on what I will be putting to meet your expectation on the opportunities in relation to technology. So before I start, if I can ask you one question. Who here involved working with radiation? Anybody here? Involved working with radiation? No. So is it a new thing to you? Radiation? So when we're talking about development, we cannot miss out the important role of science and technology. So any countries that fully embrace potential of any technology, especially in the radiation technology, they need to have a strong what we call regulatory framework, right? So as what you already heard from other presentation from my colleagues on our regulatory instrument. So we are always committed to develop and establish a strong regulatory framework in safety, health, environment, as well as radiation protection. So China is only not untuk angkat orang saja kan. Bila kita bercerita bahasa China, semua takut kan? Anggap orang dengan salah saja. No. And with a strong regulatory framework on safety, as well as radiation protection, we can use all of this technology not only to benefit people, but also to create a sustainable development in our country. As what's stated in our Clear, my boss.
Compliance.
Okay, let's start a little bit of history here. How nuclear and radiation technology started in the world. In 1895, one German Dutch professor called Wilhelm Röntgen has accidentally discovered the basic properties of X-ray. You know X-ray? Because it's medical, right? By capturing the image of X-ray of this one in his wife's hand. There's the picture there. And then, because of this discovery, the use of radiation, nuclear and radiation technology has been worldwide used for the medical and also medical until now. And then, in 1901, there's one popular scientist has discovered a most popular equation, which is E equal to mc squared. So have you heard that? It's very popular. So do you know who is the professor, the name of the professor who discovered this equal to mc squared?
Einstein.
Sorry?
Einstein.
Albert Einstein. So basically, in a single blow, equal to mc squared is talking about the release of energy in stars and also in a nuclear explosion. So because of this E equal to mc squared, the American government has decided to develop a nuclear bomb, weapon mass destruction, that called atomic bomb in 1941. It is in response to the fear that German or Nazis at the time has already developed their own atomic bomb that ready to be used. Unfortunately, in fragment and little boy has been used to bomb Fukushima and Nagasaki. And you know what? That particular bomb, atomic bomb, is successfully ended the World War II. That's a good, right? That's a good thing, right? It managed to end the World War II. But unfortunately, about estimated 400 person was killed and 150,000 building was to Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Until today, you can see the effect of the atomic bomb. Skill of use of weapon mass detection by using a nuclear, world has decided in 1957 to establish the international agency called IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, in 1957. It is with a dual responsibility, which is to control the use of nuclear technology and to making the nuclear and radiation technology available for member states. So IAEA is assisting member states in a few main categories, which is in human health, climate change, future energy, industrial application, knowledge development, and food safety and security. We become a member state of IAEA since 2014. And we already signed our CPF, Country Program Framework, for phase 2017 to 2022 in 2018, in the first CPF that we signed. So from 2018, we already involved in several technical cooperation between IAEA and Brunei Darussalam, which is 2 of it already completed and 5 of it are still ongoing. So let me share with you the Brunei success story in nuclear and radiation technology. So this is one of the technical cooperation that Brunei Darussalam received from the IAEA, whereby we managed to developing radiotherapy and treatment and nuclear medicine capabilities at PJAC. So this is the cancer care management facility in Pontianak. And even this was comprehensive cancer care facility in Darussalam is since then, since the full commission of this facility in 2016, Alhamdulillah, as what I said before, we have become the first in Borneo Island. And then the best thing is now the people of Brunei Darussalam, 98% of them cancer patients can receive treatment locally. We don't need to go like Singapore or Malaysia. We are already how to say, cut the cost. So with this, how to say, the kejayaan of this, I can say that Alhamdulillah, Brunei Darussalam has already achieved one of the Brunei Wawasan 2025 target on top strategy. But currently, PDAC also is trying to expand their services that called theranostic, which is this a combination of treatment between and diagnostic, whereby this patient can treat cancer more efficiently. There's still room for improvement in health strategy of Brunei Darussalam. I'll give you one example. Anybody here are involved in medical, there are some room of expansion in producing radioisotope that will be using for cancer treatment in Brunei Darussalam. Because since the last decade, Southeast Asia is still have a problem with the radioisotope supply shortage. If we can expansion this technology for Brunei Darussalam will cater our local needs, but you can be a main player in Southeast Asia on supplying radioisotope. It's a lot of money. Okay, next I will to touch a little bit on the nuclear technology opportunities in agriculture and also in food security. So, you know what? The world is struggling today, right? With the explosion of number of population, the world today, we need a billion more mouths to feed, right? Right. I give you a few facts here. About 800 million, more than 800 million of people in the world are going to bed in hungry every night. Do you realize that? Kita realize that kita mulai alhamdulillah kan. And more than 1.3 million child death annually because of undernutrition. When we're talking about 800 million, you know how many percent it is compared to the world population? How many compared to the world population? How many world population today? Does anybody know? Let's have some interaction here today. Does anybody know? Let's have some interaction here. You know? You know? Up to June 2022, the world population is about 8 billion. And when we're talking about 800 million, it's 10% orang tak makan. So, there is the opportunity here. And even this food security or food shortage become worse in the era of pandemic like COVID-19 and become worsen apabila Russia invade Ukraine, geopolitical issue, right? So siapa ada baca news this morning? Federal Union announcement, United States Federal Reserve announcement. They increase the interest rate again to reduce the inflation. But you know what's meant by them? Bila dia naikkan interest rate, it means thing your price will hike. And bila jadi macam tu, it will affect our food supply. Unfortunately, Brunei Darussalam is a net importer of food, where the nuclear and radiation technology potential assistance to help us on the agriculture and to solve problem in food shortage. So, IAEA focus in a few areas to help in agriculture and food security, as such as animal health, fertilizer management, water resources management, food safety, insect control, and plant mutation breeding. So I don't have a slide here, but I want to share with you. There's a few success stories about our neighboring country that already use nuclear and radiation technology for the food issue. So, for example, Malaysia is already produced a new mutation of paddy called paddy nuclear, whereby it increased productivity about 40 to 60% and reduce the cost about 20 to 30% because they have a new varieties paddy that with resistant to the banjir ke penyakit ke. Resistant to the banjir ke penyakit ke. So, there's a few contoh yang I can give you later lah.
Okay.
Okay, last but not least, we are here today with the MYCE. We are focusing on the one of the issue is what energy security, right? So the term of energy security has been used worldwide. When economical and political discussion. Okay, since the last what we call energy crisis in 1970s, and when the pandemic is happened, also the geopolitical issue happened. We have a lot of problem with energy security. We don't have enough supply. And studies show that ASEAN country in 2050 will triple usage of electricity. Okay. So after Brunei Darussalam has decided to do a transition of energy from using a coal or oil and gas to the renewable energy, which is solar, there is an opportunity to consider, we might consider the use of nuclear energy. So I'm not here to talk about promotion the use of nuclear energy. I'm just to share with you the knowledge. Because nuclear energy are offering a reliable and also clean energy to resolve our problem. So I'm talking here to suggest that we might consider to put in nuclear energy is one of the options in our country energy policy. As we know that our target to increase the renewable energy up to 30%, so we might consider the use of nuclear. So before I stop here, I want to share with you a short video to give you, how to say, a better understanding how nuclear power can complement the other renewable energy for the sake of nuclear energy crisis problem, decarbonization, and green energy. Please, sir.
Towards a carbon-free future, major utilities are across the nation set aggressive targets for clean energy. The United Nations has laid on the Senate to prove 51 lines of decarbonization of the maintenance grid. Carbon-free situation. Therefore, tremendous amount of resources is running around. Today, we have several technologies available. Therefore, the factors in money for generating electricity. And there's solar, which uses energy from the sun. This technology is great, especially in some climates. That's the whole electricity available in the US today. Area that provides nearly 50%. It's only 20% better in the future. Technologies is using small and advanced reactors for energy safe climate. As these technologies resources work together to them. It's future.
With that, I will end my presentation and hope I meet your expectation. If you need more information, you can and hope I meet your expectation. If you need more information, you can contact SHENA. SHENA. As long as
Alright, thank you very much, that's part. Definitely radiation technology is actually essential, yeah. And it is and will likely continue to expand. As we're moving forward as a safer and harmony environment everything. Now we will open the floor for any question. Don't forget to mention your name and group name. However, due to the essence of time, we will be able to get the
This is the question to be asked. This is summarization.
Hello, hello. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi. I'm Kamal, from one of the civil company in Benar. Okay, now we're talking about culture change. Yeah, I think in this culture change, we've done a few, right? Like where seatbelt is built in the culture now. So when looking into safety worldwide, or I mean worldwide, from my side, what I do is actually I'll do some crawling unease. Yeah, for these workers. Yeah, by standing, by keep looking, again by kata orang moving, will make these changes. But for them, maybe wrong for them. But we are trying to do what we can. But then there will be a dilemma for this. Maybe it's coming from the management. See, they didn't really look into how we're gonna change as long as they got the productivity. That's why we kept on saying that from my side, my point of view, we're not going to see that safety is the first priority. For me, I will keep looking into looking at as a safe productivity. Yeah, we can produce safely, looking into looking at as a safe productivity. Yeah, we can produce safely, but that will change the mindset of the management. But the main thing is that dilemma everything looks yeah. So in Brunei, we are a doer. We are a follower. People are following what the people are doing. So until we wait for something to happen and like take it like seriously, like what happened yesterday. There's a what's called a truck, yeah, a pickup truck that carrying workers that got accident. These things actually should be handled seriously. Yeah. What we've done last time in ESP, yeah, well, I've been working with ESP also. In ESP, they emphasize not to do this wagon or this truck to bring workers. Yeah, they emphasize that it should be done by using buses. Yeah. So this is the thing happening. So uh, how are you going to make these changes? If it's only SHENA alone, I see there is no, I mean, we can try, but there's a lot of things to do. It'll be a big, what's called, I think some of us are from DSP previously. It took us a long time for people to understand what is PACAT actually. I think the audience like Leslie is here. We agree on that. People are taking it like not seriously about PACAT. PACAT is a tools, yeah. So it took us a long time for people to understand. So I think it is the same thing as how we're going to change the culture of people. It's just looking into what kind of advice to be done. So I'm hoping that SHENA will support us in this. Yeah. So it's not only for HSC people, because HSC will be a Swiss cheese. Because they will melt because of management pressure. So there will be loopholes. Correct? People take it, oh, HSC, where's HSC? Accident happened, HSC. Incident happened, HSC. But is there anything that to give HSC more spaces and trying to advertise this HSC culture? Yeah.
Thank you, Tuan Kamal, for your question and sharing your thoughts as well. Yeah, that's why during your presentation I was saying, a shift in culture. It cannot just be one organization. It cannot be just HSCP. Every individual needs to play a part, right? So we need to get that buy-in from every single person. So it's not just us telling people you have to do this work safely. It's them understanding why they need to do it, how they can influence other people to do it as well. And I like the fact that you mentioned it takes a while for example, I use BSP as an example, right, for people to get used to pakat attack. It's the same thing. Even BSP, if there's any BSP people here, I'm sorry, but just using it as an example because you mentioned it, right? Even within BSP or all the oil and gas sector, they took time to get to where they are now. They took decades. So we need to be patient with our other industries as well, our construction industry. Like we have to be supportive in a way that maybe they're not working as safely because they don't understand how, or under other industries as well, our construction industry. Like we have to be supportive in a way that maybe they're not working as safely because they don't understand how or why they should do it. So I think if we want to make that cultural change, each individual needs to play a role and be supportive with each other, advise each other rather than penalizing each other or judging each other. So hopefully, eventually that can change. I mean, of course, SHENA will support and facilitate for what we can do, but that's why we really need the support of each and every person, every industry, every company, every management position, every labor worker to actually be on board with this. And hopefully we will keep driving this safety culture message this year, building a positive safety culture. I can't remember the rest of it, but it's safety culture related. So now it's kind of become this like trigger word, or like it's the in thing now, but we will keep emphasizing this to all levels of industry and to all levels of management and work. And together, hopefully, we can make a difference in the to make the cultural change. And it won't just be a SHENA victory, it'll be a victory for all of us.
Sabi ko, administration board.
Even though it's only one question, but it's a very important question. It should be able to answer the main question that raised. You can kindly email us at info@shena.ua. And of course, we will try to compile all of the questions that has to be addressed. And then we will contact you via email in due course. But you can also contact us directly at time after this session. So, Alhamdulillah. Ladies and gentlemen, finally we have now come to an end of the presentation. Thank you very much to all the presenters, to all presenters for the informative presentation. So kindly request your support to fill the post survey form by scanning to this QR code. And now let's move on to the fun activities part. I will now pass the floor to my colleague. Thank you.
That's a lot actually things to do. Maybe I'm also facilitating this. I build up most of my facilitating most so about the administration.
Everyone, I hope you managed to scan the QR code earlier. So thank you for being with us throughout the entire mini lecture series. Actually, the next activity we have is a quiz game. So if you would like to stay, please stay and join the quiz because you will be eligible to win prizes for the top 3 winners.
Still the way for
Time constraint, we may have to squeeze and maybe just shorten the quiz a little bit. And hopefully maybe to help you stay and join the quiz, the top 3 prizes are all Super Save vouchers. So third place will win a $10 voucher, second place $20, and first place $30 voucher. So the quiz will be based on the presentations today. So if you could grab your phones, go to the website, enter the code, and then put in your name, and then we can start the quiz. Is everyone ready, or is there anyone who's still logging in or entering your details? Is everyone good? Are we ready to start? Okay. So first, please choose the correct answer, and you have 8 seconds left to answer. And the first person is Hamza. So basically, the way it scores is if you get the correct answer and if you answer the fastest. That's how you get your scores. So let's see if the leaderboard will change throughout the quiz. So the second question, how can management display their commitment to safety and health in their workplace? I hope everyone managed to answer. Now we have Max leading. Okay, next question. What is an example of an indicator for bad safety and health culture? Okay, everyone's done? Oh, Nat still leading. Hamza, I see you going up there. What is the WOSAN 2025 goal related to HSE? This is mentioned, I think, twice or 3 times during the mini lecture. Not still leading. We have Leah going up the leaderboard. Who should lead the WSH committee at the workplace? This was my mini lecture. I hope you were paying attention.
Last year.
Not still leading, followed by Yakat. Okay. Who should be appointed as the secretary for the WSH committee? Big J going up to second, not still holding position. Which sector below the graders have received assistance from IIEA Biotechnical Corporation completed in year 2015? So you should have a list of answers in your phones. Please choose the correct answer.
Appreciate. Ini the onion, the onion.
Oh, dear, I'm over so much now. Okay, that was our last question. And now the third place is J, second is Nat, first is Leah Pat. So can I please invite J first to receive your voucher? Actually 20, but they have 30. And second place to Nat.
Ada leak.
And first place to Leah Pat. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope the lecture was interesting, and I hope the quiz was pretty good. I hope you've already answered our post survey. So thank you again, and have a good day.
Yang PAVILION.
Ini adalah beberapa kemudian dari macam ini. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The launching of the new resources of the framework, the public energy and financial office. Let's go to the event. Now the marching order. All hydrology, hydrogen, to be the cycle of solar accommodation. Alhamdulillah,